So maybe you can respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. As the CEO, I know the value of this saga, Chair. The initial mind or the spirit that was there when it was formed was an arm of the government that could reach to the grassroots of the Meru County to support the farmers who are not recognized in the banking institutions. They were supposed to be supported by the government itself by extending those soft loans and supporting the farmers and the business people, especially the young people. But that has not been the case. Majority of the people that are given this money, Chair, because they assume this money from the government. After all, it could be also money for campaigning. So they don't see the reason as to why the money should be paid back. So there is a problem, and there is a problem. What I'm doing, these sagas remained without the board of management for the longest. We've appointed the board of management, and we are trying to restructure the semi-autonomous government agency so that we can return it to the earlier spirit of supporting the people of Meru. The government channel its support to the people of Meru through this very critical arm of the government. On how many staff do we have in the saga? I have the MD here, Chair. I can indulge him to respond on that.
Thank you, Chair. Currently, the saga has a number of 42 employees.
42?
42 employees because they have...
who are on the payroll of the saga?
Yes. It's with 7 branches.
What do they do and they can't collect the money that has been given out?
Chair, as the governor has alluded to, the challenges the corporation has faced is in terms of financing, because the last disbursement, which was given for lending, was in the year 2017. So the money which has been going around is the money whichever money is paid back from the customers is what the corporation usually gives out during the specific period.
So how are you paying your staff?
Well, that one is usually funded from the executive.
So you are being paid from the executive?
Yes. Funded, not paid.
No, their salaries. Who is paying the salaries?
The executive.
The executive?
Yes.
So, you know, there's a question I asked, Chair, that we should not take time. If have you allocated resources? Did you allocate money to be given to your people during this audit period?
The answer is no, Chair.
You see, Governor, I know you are not there, but we are just sharing these ideas. There are 2 approaches to this thing. You set up a fund. The fund will have a fund administrator. Or you set up an entity. Do you think it was prudent for the county government to set up an entity when they had the choice of just having a fund? Because setting up an entity becomes very expensive in terms of operational cost. You will employ people, you will pay taxes, you will do all those things, you have offices for those people, and yet all you are doing is to lend money to people, which could be done by a fund. So in your view, as you ponder what you want to do to this, was it prudent for the county government to set up a complete entity when they had the option of just having a fund?
It was a wise decision, Chair, as I've earlier said. The spirit that informed the creation of this fund, this saga, was such a progressive and supportive spirit that really expecting that the people of Meru would benefit, get support from the government, be given these funds, soft loans, support the merry-go-round groups, Mama Bogas, and repay back with a small interest. But since this is a government-owned entity, there has been a problem, and I could refer it as a political problem, because politicians will go out there and say, this is money for campaign that you're being given, so don't repay back. It's a problem that needs to be looked into, and we commit to restructure the saga. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Mbugu.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe our legal person, Madam, what is the difference between this microfinance and the cooperatives which other counties have set up? Because this is the first one we are seeing, a microfinance. All the others come with cooperatives and empowerment funds. What is the major difference?
Don't go far. Don't go far, Senator Mbugu. There is another corporation also called County Investment and Development Corporation, still in the same county. Proceed.
Chair, the difference would be in the establishment documents, which I haven't had a look at here, but also perhaps in the purpose and objects of the corporation. Remember that we are looking at these entities because you can establish such corporations under the PFM, and they are required to make certain reports. So I don't know what comparison, maybe the Senator specifically, do you mean are they established legally, or do you want?
No, it just occurred to me because other counties have found it easier to maybe set and manage when it is a fund.
But you see, that would be a policy decision of the county. What vehicle will achieve the purpose for which they set up the corporation? So it's not really a legal question, it's a policy position.
I asked the same question because I was looking at the cost of operation. Running a board or running an entity as opposed to just running a fund. Because, for example, this fund, this board is supposed to be giving loans to farmers or cooperatives or business people. That could still be done by a fund. So you don't have to incur expenses of running an entity. The same applies to the County Investment and Development Corporation. You can still do a fund to achieve the same purpose. So the issue here is the cost of operation. For example, when you say this fund has 42 employees, you have to cater for their salaries, you have to cater for their sitting spaces, you have to cater for their many other things.
And 7 outlets, 7 branches.
Yes, yes. So I think as you ponder about it, that's why I said you need to think about how to cost effectively achieve the same objective that you want to achieve instead of going through an entity way. But that is your policy position, as she says. But the cost aspect of it is very important. Dr. Ndungu?
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to mention especially about the cooperations. It is There are principles which are guided by PFM regulation 202. And if you allow, I can read that the following principles shall apply when determining the need for the establishment of accounting corporations under Section 182 of the Act, and specifically Part C, it reads, a county government-owned enterprise shall operate on commercial principles and with a defined commercial income stream that substantially supports the associated commercial activities. So I think the issue is some of these corporations are established, but they mainly rely on the disbursement from the county, which do not apply as per the principles of this corporation, because they are supposed to rely on themselves. I think that is the problem. When establishing those corporations, they need to consider those principles under the PFM regulation.
Yeah. Yes. You know, this is an idea that was, the governor said it was a very good idea, and he's not the one who came up with the idea. And this, the person who came up with an idea was sort of like setting a bank. You know, this is basically like a bank. It's a microfinance, and our branches within the county to assist the farmers. But you know, these same farmers have cooperatives, which basically we are saying if it was a fund, you know, they could borrow, and then the cooperatives themselves now have structures on how to lend to the farmers without you having the trouble of having 42 employees and becoming very difficult. So maybe since you have not allocated resources for a while, maybe just let it slowly. We only have a year to election, so that also you don't do anything that will injure your campaigns. And then after election, when you are re-elected, then you think about it. Is it necessary?
You know, Senator Kisang, you are out of order. Yeah, you are out of order. You know, as we are blind to some of the things like elections or whatever, we only look at the audit query. You know, Governor, I think you need to make a decision. For me, if I was in your shoes, I would convert these entities into a fund. Because after all, you are still paying these employees. You can still absorb them in the executive. But do these things as a fund. Because if we go deeper and start asking you how much money you utilize per month to run this corporation, you realize it's a lot of money. But in a fund, it will be less. It will just be a fund administration expense, which is limited by law. Financial statement, sorry.
Chair, it is Jadiel Muturia.
Who? This particular one. Microfinance.
Daniel Kimathi.
Daniel?
Joseph Mungathia, ISPAC number 33870.
Can someone confirm the status of that
maybe he's not even here.
Is he here, Governor? The accountant?
I have the MD chair.
MD, you are there.
Yes, I was.
CPA Mungafia Joseph. He's a very well qualified accountant. A member of his park. Membership status active and in good accounting issues, basic accounting issues, including the issue of failure to comply with the reporting template. That should not be an issue to a qualified accountant.
This issue was on the issue of the chairman having not signed the statements, the financial statements. During the period, there was nobody in place, so there was no chair.
In financial statements, incorrect classification of loans. I read out things like failure. These are things that you don't need a board to do. These are just basic accounting things. So, is this guy your employee or an employee of the company? He sits in the entity.
Yes.
No, there is a problem. There is a problem of payment of statutory deductions. It is so, Governor, I think we will direct you to go and reorganize this entity in whichever manner, having listened to Dr. Ndungu from Treasury and our comments. You need to reorganize this board because there's no need of having an entity that is not serving the purpose. There are monies which have been given out. They are unable to collect, and they are sitting in there. There are a lot of internal administrative issues, financial issues. I think you need to relook it. Senator Mbukwa?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted the governor to comment on this Meru Rising project and this idea of the county government occupying space for the investment without a lease. Who owns the building and how does it go?
Are you already?
That's on another.
Are you talking about this
chair.
report or another report?
Oh, it's another. Oh, it's another one.
You are moving too fast. Huh? Ama mambo ya ulkalau So, members, any comment before we move to the next report? The next report, again, which seems similar to this one, is the Meru County Investment and Development Corporation. Again, Governor, tell us about Governor, tell us in brief about this entity, What is it established to do?
Thank you, Chair. This is another entity that was established to own properties on behalf of the county government of Meru, both own, do business on behalf of Meru County, and also enter into agreements. Those aspects of business nature on behalf of Meru County government, and that is what it does.
Okay. Auditor, give us a report, brief, on this audit report.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Meru County Investment and Development Corporation for the year ended 30th June 2025. The opinion for the financial statements was qualified. There were a total of 14 issues, out of which 8 were not addressed and 6 were partially addressed. The issues not addressed included budget control and performance issues, unresolved prior year matters, delayed delivery of Meru Rising Tower project, non-compliance with the law on ethnic composition, failure to renew lease agreement, non-composition of the board, lack of an audit committee, lack of a risk management policy framework, and for the partially addressed issues, they included failure to capitalize capital projects, unsupported other income, long outstanding receivables, unreconciled long outstanding borrowing, irregular long outstanding accounts payables, and finally, weak in information communication technology controls. I submit, Chair.
We have failure to capitalize capital projects. And supported other incomes, long outstanding receivables, long outstanding irregular long outstanding accounts payable, delayed delivery of Meru Rising Tower project. That's what Senator Mbuko was referring to. The issue of failure to renew lease agreement, non-composition of the board. I think let's start with the issue of non-composition of the board. Maybe, Governor, you can give us a status. Why would this corporation run without a board?
It's true, Chair, there has been that challenge in Meru, not only for this saga, but for many other sagas and entities and institutions. It is now, Chair, that we are doing the necessary, and now the saga has the board in place. Thank you, Chair.
But how did it run without the board for a whole year? How were they running without a board? Who even signed, who even processed the financial statements? Yes, proceed.
Okay, Chair. I will bring in the accountant to tell us how they've been operating. If the Act allows such things to happen, let's hear, Chair.
Yes, tell us how you were running without a board.
Thank you, Chair, honorable members. Pursuant to the provisions of the Act of establishing Meru County Investment and Development Corporation, in the absence of the Board of Directors, we have been seeking the administrative approvals from the CC in charge of finance. In addition to that, while even the approval of the budget, we have been obtaining the same from the CC in charge of finance, as well as the approval of the financial statement that we submitted.
Yes. Maybe we need to, I know it's not the governor who, I think this was Kiraitu who started this. I don't know if that was Kiraitu or Munya. What is this corporation supposed to do?
He explained that
but I mean,
it is supposed to do business for the county.
But you see now, you are the executive. It's like telling the Kenya government, we form an entity that will own the property, and then you, as the owner of this particular entity, still pay rent to this people. I mean, I think the concept for this particular thing is, I don't understand properly what it was supposed to. If it was indeed business, then that's okay. But I don't understand it. I think Treasury and the State Department for Devolution should have proper guidelines on how some of these things, so that also, a governor cannot just wake up in the morning and say, I want to do this particular business. This chairman, there is some.
You know, during the first term of devolution, we didn't have proper systems and standards and mechanism in place. And that's why we are asking governor, you know, some of these things need to be reviewed. Because some of them would have served better as just a mere fund and not an entity. But let's listen to Mark Gashanja.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe just to respond to the question by the Senator. The Meru Investment Fund, as per the Act, which was enacted in August 2014, is an investment vehicle for the county government of Meru, investments and developments. In fact, it owns several income-generating activities. It owns Meru County Petrol Station, County Missionettes, Renewable Energy, Kanyeke Fish Processing Factory, Tea Factory, a lodge. So it's like an investment vehicle, Chair, which now is supposed to be like owner of all these income-generating activities, or rather it's supposed to be a commercial kind of corporation, Chair.
Did you say it owns a petrol station?
Yes, Chair.
Why were they struggling going to another petrol station if they have their own?
Yes, Chair, that's just to demonstrate, as the Senator had asked, what is this corporation for? These are the assets it owns. It's supposed to own the investments of the Meru County. And Chair, maybe if you allow me, and maybe the Treasurer here can comment. Now, this being
just Mark, confirm, does it also own the new county headquarters? I've seen something in 21.
Yes, Meru County headquarters. It's in fact, it invests in several sectors. In energy, it has the petrol station. In real estate, it has the headquarters and the missionettes. It also has renewable energy. Value addition, it has a fish processing factory. Agribusiness, it has Mukuri Tea Farm. Hospitality, it has Leopard Lodge, Leopard Rock Lodge, among others, Chair. And hospitalities also has Old Moses Camp at Mount Kenya. Thank you, Chair.
maybe Chair, without jumping the gun, maybe the auditor, you can tell us what revenue do they handle in a year? They seem to be very rich.
Look at revenue, it's a statement for, as of 30th June 2025, it indicates transfer from county government of 21,600,000. Yes, million transfer from the county, which means they have not indicated any revenue generation on their part, or other income at 38 million, and the county still transferred 21 million to this corporation. Chair, maybe Treasury
So
here
they are
can
still
comment.
being financed by the county.
Yes, Chair, they transferred 21 million. Maybe the other Chair, the question then would beg is, this being a commercial corporation, maybe the accounting framework ought not to have been IPSAS, but IFRS, so, because this is a commercial entity. Maybe Treasury here can comment on that, because we know whenever there's a commercial entity, for example, the water companies, they report under IFRS profits, and so it's more suited for this kind of a commercial entity than it is for a fund. Thank you, Chair.
This one, Governor, is another problem. I don't know how you want to resolve it, because it doesn't make sense that the county is funding the construction of a county headquarters and then now letting it belong to an entity. And then you pay rent, and then you still give them money to sustain them. It doesn't make sense. What's your comment on that?
Chair, as I said earlier on the other saga that we've just discussed, the microfinance, it is that the concepts on which these entities were created was such brilliant, based on very brilliant concepts. For one, the microfinance was to empower the Meru populace, the public, and this corporation, the Meru County Development Corporation, was to do business on behalf of Meru County for economic purposes, to create wealth for the county government of Meru, so as to be another stream, another holder of Meru revenues to support us take development and services to Mwananchi. But Senator Bogo is making fun of us that we have a petrol station, and yes, we are struggling with the fueling issues, talking about other companies, fueling stations, and not talking about our own petrol station. There are issues, and Senator Kisang, only that you interjected on the brilliant idea he was giving, advice. That is the status. We need to relook into all these issues, but not now. You know when. So, thank you, Chair. But there are so many issues.
Yeah. What about this Meru Rising Tower project? What is it about?
Let me ask the
15-floor building.
my accountant, our SAGA accountant, can take us deeper into the Rising Tower.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, honorable members. The Meru Rising Tower project was an idea initially by the first county administration, which was whose objective was first of all to address the issue of office space. And this project, though was a mixed use, 70% of it was to host the county headquarters as a whole. However, because the land in which this project is a bit quite huge, The project was also to accommodate some mixed-use development that were for commercial purposes. The project was not initially to be financed by the county government, but through private sector funding. We had CPF, which had expressed interest, but one thing that halted the implementation of that project was lack of ownership document. And later on, the corporation, after all the interventions, was able to attain the ownership document for that particular land. As of now, we are exploring opportunities under public-private partnership to see whether we can rekindle that dream of the Meru Rising Tower.
Well, so you said you were to receive money from CPF for this project. Did I hear that?
Chair?
So what is the status? The project is still, is it being done or it is stalled?
Thank you, Chair. Having CPF pulling out of that financing now after the lack of those ownership documents, as of that time, we had already attained the preliminary and the final designs for that project. So up to date, CPF has not committed itself to funding the project. So we have to explore other opportunities that may help us come back to the project.
So,
Chair.
Just clarify to the committee. Query 1 talks about an expenditure of 347 million for the new county headquarters office block. Is it the same? Is the tower the same as this building being referred to in Query 1?
Chair, that can be handled by the Chief Officer Finance, who has been in the government all through. So Chief Officer Finance, answer on the project and also on the county headquarters on the 26 million.
Let me get some clarification. Okay, thank you, Chair. Yes, I used to take you back a bit, is that this project, just to expound on what the accountant has said, we were to partner with the CPF to come up with an office block, the so-called Meru Rising Tower. It was a commercial project which was supposed to generate revenue by leasing the excess office space to the willing other clients. But now, the project stalled. It is stalled at the preliminary stage. And due to lack of documentation and other logistical support from the government, we are not able to it. So CPF seemed to pull out of the project. And that is what we are saying. We are now exploring other avenues through PPP. And with that, the project is not on because there are no funding for it currently.
Yeah, you see, you are not clarifying things well to us. I am looking at the query. In fact, the query is very specific. There were 3 projects. There was the new county headquarters office block that so far the balances are amounting to 347 million. Then there is the Meru Rising Tower project that has costed so far 45 million. And then there is the Meru County Aggregation and Industrial Park that has already eaten 20 million. So all these comes to 413 million. So the clarity I wanted you to tell me is the county headquarters that is supposed to house the county headquarters. It is a separate project from the Meru Rising Tower project, which in the explanation, the manager, the accountant said that it was also going to be an office block.
Through Chair, I have now understood you.
Yes.
Now, the investment corporation at inception, it had to have three major projects. One, county hotel, then the rising tower. Now, when the rising tower did not take off, and now they were renovating the hotel, which was formerly owned by Meru County Council, at the time of Governor Kiraito, a decision was made, we reconvert the hotel, which was being renovated, into an office block. Now, having done that, Chair, having taken over one of their major projects as the county and the quarters offices. Now, the sustainability of the investment corporation was ordained by that, and it was agreed, county executive, we pay rent to the investment. I think put the answer correct.
Through you, Chair, I want to ask if the petrol station still runs, or you've rented it, or what are you doing with that property?
We leased it out.
Sorry?
It is leased to a private person.
Governor, because the chair is not listening, take my advice.
Honorable members, you know,
We are suggesting we go to Meru and visit what
yeah, we
whether it will also be generating income, therefore to justify its transfer to the development corporation. If it's not generating income, there's no reason why it should be transferred to the development corporation. Also noting, Chair, that with respect to title documents of state-owned or government-owned property or entities, there are inherent risks as to why they must remain within the ownership of the county government.
Auditor, you have looked at the county executive reports. How are these assets treated in the executive report? Are they treated as owned by the executive, or how are they treated?
Chair, just to respond to the question you've asked before I make a comment after the brilliant legal comment that has been made. We are currently undertaking the 25-26 financial year audit, and it is one of the areas that we might look into to just check on the ownership. However, when you look at the financial statements of the corporation, it indicates that the headquarters belong to the corporation, if that is correct. So that means that even if the ownership documents are in the executive, then we should not expect to see the headquarters in the executive accounts, because they've been reported in the corporation. So that is an area that we will really look into in as far as the executive is concerned. Chair, just allow me to just make a slight comment or an addition to what has just been said. When you look at the receivables, there's a query on receivables that are long outstanding for the corporation. And if you look at these receivables, most of them, or a huge amount, almost, I think 80%, relate to the county executive. So actually what she has raised is an issue that has been raised in the report, where we are saying that the executive has payables, but they're not paying to the corporation. The corporation is treating this as receivables, yet in the executive's books, these have not been recognized as payables. So again, there's a lot of gray area that the executive needs to just look into and ensure that financial management has been undertaken procedurally. I submit, Chair.
Maybe through Chair. On this issue, you've raised here about the 20 million for the county aggregation park. Auditor, this issue you raised about the 20 million aggregated park. The position of Parliament is that the national government gave Meru County government 250 million, and Meru County government was to put in 250 million. So who owns that project now that the national government puts in some money and the county government puts it in money? And then where is this 20 million coming? And how far is that project in terms of completion?
Through the Chair, allow me to just go through, then I'll revert. Thank you.
Yeah, as you prepare, let's listen to Kenot.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to echo what Council has talked about in terms of the risk of having government assets getting into private hands through the corporation. I've not had a chance of looking at the governance instrument or the act that established the corporation, but clearly from what he was talking about, it's clear that there are individuals who may own shares in this corporation where government assets are being transferred and the revenue. Secondly, that governance instrument or the act is a 2014 act, which is not clearly aligned to what National Treasury was reading in terms of establishment of county corporations. It's the county government PFM regulations, 200 all the way to 208, which is a 2015 regulation. And this is a 2015 to 2014 act, meaning it is not aligned to the 2015 regulation. So clearly there's a problem, a governance problem in terms of how the corporation was established. Thank you.
Yeah, and even Governor, in your own response, you've indicated that when you're responding to the issue of long-term receivable, you've indicated that even COB had a problem and issued new guidelines on how to manage this relationship. So clearly it means there is a problem, because the building has been given to the corporation, then the county is supposed to be paying rent after sponsoring the construction of the building, but now the county government is not paying the rent, so it's accumulating receivables. It's just looking very messy. It's just looking very untidy. So I think, honorable members, I think before we do our report writing, we need to visit particularly those entities that we have gone through, and to assess their viability and understand these problems better. Pardon?
You can go even this weekend, Chair. I'm very available.
No, you know the process is involved in inspection visit. So we will, Governor, we will come on the ground, see for ourselves what is happening. Because even for me, I'm trying to understand the 45 million that was given to the tower. I am not getting a clear understanding it was for what.
Chair, not only 45 million, there is another pending bill that is being followed up by the same service provider, over 100 million. Is it? Yes. So we have a pending bill for the same service provider. I think he's an architecture or something.
And how come the OAG never picked that 100 million? It is not in your report, and the governor is admitting there is a pending bill of 100 million. Then you didn't bring it up.
And then also we need to understand the legislation. Did you attach the law establishing these boards?
Yes, we have a copy of the act, Chair.
You can provide it to the committee.
I can table, Chair?
Yeah, you table it.
Okay. Where is the clerk?
And if you have the other legislation for the other boards, please table.
And also for the microfinance, we have both acts.
And
Chair, I can make a comment?
Yes.
On the issue of the demand that the governor has mentioned. It wasn't disclosed in the financial statements for 24-25. So I guess it will be reviewed in the 25-26 financial statements. Yeah. And then on the issue of the Cape, the industrial park, it is true that an amount of 250 million was allocated. To 30 million by the Trade Cooperative and Tourism, which is the county executive, and then the corporation, 20 million. And this 20 million is what has been reported in their financial statements.
In fact, now that's industrial park is even more confusing.
Yes, yes.
Because you know, industrial parks are funded on counterpart funding. between the national government and the county government. So now, with the cooperation in place, how do you now explain the input from the national government of 250 million? So I think, Governor, the fairest way to handle this is we come on the site and understand these things deeply. So, honorable members, I think we have a few minutes before the chamber starts. I think we'll end at that point. I know we are remaining with one more report. We will make a decision on how to handle that. But we have made a decision that because of the need to understand what is happening in Meru, we will visit make an inspection visit to Meru, where the auditor should be available and all the other partners should be available, including COB, because COB had given guidelines. So we want to understand on what basis they gave those guidelines. So I think we stop there, but before we adjourn, let me request the governor to make final comments.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is just to appreciate the support that and guidance that we are getting from the multi-sectoral forum for oversight. What we can commit is that, Chair, all your guidance, all your directives, we are going to work on them and ensure that we are impactful in terms of service delivery and giving value for money to the mwananchi of Meru, because that is why the county or devolution units were created, and we appreciate the support that we are getting from your committee. And you're most welcome to Meru, sir. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. I think we will continually look at the reports you have given us, and as I said, make sure that we do an inspection visit very soon to get more clarification on the issues before us. Thank you very much.
And the Chair, ensure that Senator Kisang is in the team, because he has interests in Meru.
I don't understand what kind of interest. So, honorable members, I think we adjourn until on notice. Thank you.